Cabin crew, hello. You are watching Mad Sports Network with MC Mad Mac, MC Mad Devo, and Chris the Collins MC. Well, this is a European preview, and this is Group B. Before we get into it, let's do a little bit of what you do when you do YouTube videos, where you tell everyone to subscribe and like and share and everything like that. So let's start with the Twitter handles. They are going across the bottom of the screen as we speak. You can follow us on Mad Sports Net. You have GavMac23 at DevoLDN and at Chris the Collins. And obviously subscribe to the YouTube channel. As I keep saying, this is not a request, it's a demand. If you do not do it, Chris is very good at kickboxing and MMA and stuff, and we'll send him around to your gaff. And he'll see to it that you do. There you go. At Mad Sports Network, just search that on Google, search that on YouTube. We will come up. Press the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you can keep up to date with all of the content we have coming up. So let's get into it. We are here for the European Championships. We are all very excited for the imminent arrival of this tournament. And we have done Group A, and now it's on to Group B. In this group, you'll find Denmark, Finland, Belgium, and Russia. We will start with Denmark, and we will look at the Denmark squad and some key players, and just look at their general prospects for the tournament. And before we do that, I would just like to say these are my dark horses. I think Denmark are going to go deep into this tournament. I've very much like their squad. I think it's a very balanced squad. I think the only area which concerns me is up front. They don't have a real bagsman, but they do have players.
In Braithwaite,
Yusuf Poulsen. They do have players who could be very annoying to defenses. So let's have a look at the squad. This is Denmark's squad right there. You can see it. So what do we reckon for this squad here? I'll come to you first, Gav. Is there anyone there that stands out who you think could really? I know there's one name who you've raved about in previous Bundesliga shows, but is there anyone there who you think really stands out and it could be key for Denmark?
There's no one I'll talk about on a regular basis at all in this squad that plays in the Bundesliga, Robert Skov. But look, I understand why you've got them as dark horses. I personally don't see it. We spoke about it yesterday in regards to the Switzerland side. Once again, it's one of those teams where a lot of the players are at their prime. They haven't got any teenagers. The youngest person in the squad is just 20 years old, in the shape of Mikkel Damsgaard, who I actually think is going to be one of the breakthrough talents of this tournament. He plays for Sampdoria at the moment, left winger, can play out wide on the right hand side, can play as a false nine as well, but is much more effective wide left. If they get the ball to him and Robert Skov on the other side, the thing is, Kasper Dolberg, I don't expect him to be like a bagsman as such. But if they've got someone like a Yusuf Poulsen who can be, he's a great support striker. He's someone that can hold it up and feed it off onto someone else. He's not going to get you loads of goals, but he can help invite people into the game. And they've got Thomas Delaney, another player from the Bundesliga who I love. Pierre Højbjerg. I've got a lot of time for him. It winds me up that he plays for Spurs because I want to love him unconditionally, but I can't do that being with my club allegiance. I feel sorry for them in between the sticks because Kasper Schmeichel we know is number one, but they have two cracking goalkeepers in reserve. Lursel, who might be known from his time in the Premier League, is at Midtjylland now. He's a very good, competent goalkeeper. Even though he's getting older, he's still pretty good, and I think he's a top class goalkeeper. And Runov, who has been one of the better players for relegated Schalke this season. We've actually praised him quite a bit, haven't we, Dev?
He's got a very strong neck. I tell you, very strong neck from constantly doing this.
very strong back for very
Yeah.
strong back for carrying everybody. But yeah, it's no, I don't dislike the Denmark side. I just don't see where they can, really step up. They've got good players everywhere, but they're just good players.
One player who is often key to Denmark's success is Christian Eriksen, who's just gone and won the title in Italy. Chris, how much do you think they'll depend on his performances?
That's a lovely segue into what I wanted to say, which was, I think the middle of the park is key for Denmark. I don't just think it's Christian Eriksen. I think the other key player in there is Højbjerg, which I always butcher the pronunciation on that, so I hope I did that some justice.
You did that bang on the money, son.
Well, let's say that again, Højbjerg. So Eriksen and Højbjerg are going to be key for Denmark. I think if they turn up and they have a good tournament, Denmark are going to have a very, very good tournament. Højbjerg, for obvious reasons, he is just the no-nonsense, no glamour, I'm going to boss and marshal everything in the centre of the pitch player that Denmark are going to need to be able to get the best out of the likes of Christian Eriksen, and then your front men, whether... I'm not sure how they're going to go up front, to be honest. I think Poulsen will play. And I think just based on name value, you're probably going to see Braithwaite play as well. But you're going to need your players like Højbjerg to be on fire, marshalling, being in command at the centre of the pitch, and just soaking everything up from a defensive point of view, and being that anchor in front of the defence to be able to help them shine. And to answer your question, yeah, Eriksen, he needs to show up. I think he is the one player in the Denmark side who you could argue as being potentially world class. So it's difficult. I can't, if he doesn't have a good tournament, I can't see how Denmark are even going to get out of the group, let alone go far in the tournament, if that makes sense.
Wow.
Right,
I think...
I just want to say, just chime in quickly on Braithwaite, because Braithwaite, he's playing for Barcelona, but he's not great, is he?
No.
But every time he wears a national shirt, he wears it with pride, and he turns up with decent top performances. He doesn't score very often. I think he's going to be winning his 50th cap in this tournament, and I think he's only scored like 8 or 9 goals off the top of my head.
He's not a prolific goal scorer.
He's not.
That's not his
but
thing.
he offers. He invites people in. He doesn't invite people in as much as Poulsen does, but that if he's wearing the shirt, he's going to be playing with his heart on his sleeve, and he'll be doing anything and everything for the cause. And they're the type of players that you need when you're not laden with superstars.
Yeah, I actually think Denmark's strength lays at the other end of the pitch. I think when you look at their centre backs, they probably have amongst the strongest centre back options in this competition. Joachim Andersen, at Fulham, he's heavily sought after. Andreas Christensen is a very capable centre back at Chelsea. He's had a pretty good season when he's been fit. Simon Kjær has long been a very good centre back, and Yannick Vestergaard at Southampton also. That's 4 centre backs who are, very, very good. A lot better than England's current crop, I'd say.
They actually are.
So I think that with Kasper Schmeichel behind them, I think defensively they're going to be very hard to break down. And then on top of that, you put Thomas Delaney and Højbjerg in front of them. That's going to be a very combative midfield, which will allow Eriksen, Damsgaard, and the likes to really shine. And I think Jonas Wind is someone who I think the Danes are very high on as well.
I like him. Yeah,
who's looked good every time I've seen him. They've looked decent in the Champions League when Copenhagen were in the Champions League before.
You're selling this. You're selling it.
I like the look of that squad. I really do.
Yeah. They've got good chemistry, aren't they? Not to use a FIFA term, but I'll use it. They've got a very good chemistry and balance about them, the Denmark side. A little bit like when people go back and watch the Group A show that we did before. We're talking about some of the sides in that group, Italy especially. Gav, I think you said it. Just really well balanced across the board, like play really, really well together. And that's going to be really, really important for them to at least get them out of the group.
Yeah. Okay, and let's move on to their neighbours, Finland, who make their first appearance at any international tournament. So this is going to be a massive occasion for them. And let's have a look at their squad. There's one or two names that stand out on there that people will know. Herdecki, Leverkusen goalkeeper. We have Glenn Kamara at Rangers. For those who watch the MLS show, there's a couple of names on there from the MLS. Robin Lodd, Ray Tyler from Minnesota United. And those who watch the El Campeonato show will find Marcus Forss and Timo Pukki. And those who watch the Bundesliga show, just constant plugs. I'm not even going to try and say that one. That's you, Gav. You've got that one.
Sorry, Poyampalo.
That's it. Well done.
That's one of the easy ones.
No, it's not.
Elvis Rex Bajai.
No, that's not. That's not. But some of these names here are extremely hard to pronounce, such as O'Shaughnessy. Daniel O'Shaughnessy for Finland. Beautiful. Right, let's just cut to the chase. Finland are going to be cannon fodder, aren't they? Really?
What, like Iceland in 2016?
You. Good point. Good point. So I'll start with you then, Gav. Do you think that they could possibly upset some people in this group?
No. Stand there defending them and just shooting them straight down. Look, they are definitely going to be what will be considered by the opposition as the whipping boys, but this is what happens quite a lot. And then, like Iceland in 2016, they surprised a few names. I'm wearing my Leverkusen shirt today to pay homage to Lukas Radecki, who's playing between the sticks, and he will be starting. There's no two ways, no shadow of a doubt
not
about it.
Matey from Bristol Rovers, no?
No, not this time. Not quite able to make it as Jorinen. But they are. Then once again, it's a team that's not laden with talent. But together they have made it to the Euros, and you don't get to these games by fluke, especially in international games. It's like a team winning the league, even though they're playing 38 games in the league. You don't win a league by fluke. In the international stage, you can't just fluke your way 10 games in and get yourself into a tournament. You have to be putting in performances. They've got
you can fluke your way to win a tournament, no Greece.
Yeah, in Greece, yeah, maybe. But silver goals helps in that sometimes. But like defensively, I don't feel overly confident about them, if I'm honest. A lot of them play in the lesser leagues, if you want to call it that, around Europe. Players like O'Shaughnessy is at Helsinki. You got players like Arlo, who's playing for in Budapest right now. But then they've also got Tim Sparv, who has been around for a bit. Is 34.
Test, right? Test.
Yeah. He's been around. He knows how to play in big games with around big people. Glenn Kamara, as you mentioned before, I can imagine them playing a 4-2-3-1 and having those two in the sitting roles, and they're not easy to get past. So I can see them being quite compact. I can see them being quite astute, and then they do have three decent enough strikers. One who's got decent Premier League experience and has been a bagsman in the Championship in the shape of Timo Pukki. Michael Forss, he's been doing bits in the Champions League, in the Championship as well, and he's only a kid. And so we could be looking at him as a potential, someone who can light their name up if they get given that clutch opportunity. And Union Berlin, they've just qualified for Europe 2 seasons into the Bundesliga, and Poyampalo, but Poyampalo, he bagged that hat trick as well towards the end of the season. He's been getting involved amongst the goals, whether it be assisting, being a heavy part in the build-up play or not. He's had involvement, so he could be using this as a benchmark as well. So I think they're going to finish bottom of the group, but I don't think we should be rocked. But if you know where I'm coming from, they will finish bottom of the group in my opinion. But if they do lose, it'll be like 2-1, 1-0. They're not going to get pumped.
Yeah, Chris, Finland, is this going to be a case of them just being very happy to be here, and anything that comes their way, they'll take it? Or do you think they'll look at this group, because it's not on paper the strongest group? Do you think they'll look at this and maybe take some sort of confidence from what Iceland were able to do, obviously not too long ago, and think, we're going to give this a go and we might actually get out of this group?
I'm going to be very blunt with you. I don't even think Jari Litmanen could save them, Devo. They're going to have to get everything right in every game and hope for mistakes off the other teams. When you look at that squad, you're looking at key players. You've got your likes of Glenn Kamara, who's had a very good season for Rangers. He's been a big part of their success. Timu Pukki is, he is the linchpin. He is the god in that side. And he's going to have his shooting boots on, no doubt about it. If they're going to win games, it's probably going to be by the odd goal here or there, and they're just going to have to be very defensively compact and strong, as Gav was touching upon before. But with the, no disrespect to them, but with the quality that they've got, with the defence that they've called up there, I don't think they've got it in them to get out of the group. I think potentially they could finish third, because I don't think Russia look great even. We'll touch upon that in a second, but no, I don't think they're getting out of the group, to be quite frank.
Carl Jenkinson is not injured.
He's not got a club though, has he? I don't think.
Does it matter?
Wait, can he play for Finland? Because didn't he play for England? It was just friendlies, wasn't it?
Is that? I'm sure he's had caps for Finland.
His dad was Finnish, or
he's played. He's played.
He played for England, didn't he?
He's not had caps for Finland. He's got. Did he play once for England?
Yeah, he played for England.
Might have changed it.
For England. And that's when anyone could get in. They just give you a cap. If you was, local lad.
I am all about a Finland defence with O'Shaughnessy and Jenkinson.
I think Finland. I'm happy for them to be in a major tournament, and I do think they have good attacking options in that team. But when you look at Denmark and you look at Belgium, who we're going to come to next, you can't see Finland getting much out of those two. Russia, possibly. But let's move on to Belgium, who will probably be amongst the bookies' favourites for the tournament, let alone this group. One thing that stands out to me about this squad is it's a very aging squad. This is their last chance. The likes of Alderweireld, Courtois, Vermaelen, Vertonghen, Eden Hazard, even, Witsel. These guys, it's Dries Martins, 34. It's their last chance for a lot of this squad. Chris, I'll come to you first. Firstly, how highly do you rate this squad? And secondly, are they favourites or amongst the favourites for this tournament?
No, I don't think they're the favourites for the tournament. I don't think they should be considered the favourites for the tournament. And I think a big part of that, well, there's two parts that I think support what I've just said. One of them is what you just touched upon, which is it is a very old squad now. So Alderweireld, arguably past it, Vermaelen and Vertonghen, you listed the names before. They're not on the right side of 30 now. And particularly in defence, the three players I've just mentioned there, that is half of your defence that you have selected. So you come up against a team that have got a bit of pace and power up front. It's going to be a long, long day for you. The other part is the striking options. And I know Romelu Lukaku is world class. Like he is a proper world class striker. He's just such a good player, isn't he? Like he's just banging him in for Inter Milan. He's a massive part of their success this season. But you take him out, and the drop off in quality is just so severe. I mean, Batshuayi is just not up to it. Benteke, as good as he's been in spots this season, it is just not there. Trossard, again, he's had a decent season for Brighton, but there's a big gap in quality between Lukaku and Trossard. And I just don't think they've got the options going forward to to really get them over the line. I think they'll get out of the group comfortably, but I think they'll probably meet the end in the quarters, possibly the semis if they have a good tournament, the key players turn up.
Yeah, Gav, you look at players like De Bruyne, who are obviously world class. You look at players like Eden Hazard, who will probably have something to prove considering how poor his move to Real Madrid has been. And then obviously Lukaku, who has very much disrespected, not in the game, but if you're on Twitter and places like that, everyone disrespects Lukaku. And he has scored goals throughout his career, many goals, no matter where he's played. Do you think that it's a case of if De Bruyne turns up, Hazard turns up, Lukaku turns up, Belgium are firing on all cylinders?
De Bruyne turns up, they can play wherever they like. They can play Benteke's up top, and something might come good of it. I want to know though whether there was as much uproar in Belgium as there was here. For over here, England selected 4 right backs initially. We know that Trent is injured and is not going to be part of it, so they got 3. Excuse me, but Belgium have 4 left wingers. So they've got Eden and Torgan. They've got Trossard and Chadley. Now those guys can interject, but naturally that's their position. So I don't know. I'm not overly convinced. I'm with you guys. These guys are getting old, and they haven't got much young talent. The only young talent and the only person that I feel that can light it up, or be a special name, because who knows about the situation with Kevin De Bruyne, because he got himself injured at the end of in the Champions League final. But I want to talk about Jeremy Doku, who's a right winger. He plays for Rennes. He is a special talent. I can see
very good.
A big move coming from him. Even if he has an half decent tournament, he looks okay in bursts. I think that's going to be enough for a club to think, do you know what, we're going to go for him, and it will be a minimum top 5, a minimum top 6 club from any major league in Europe. I wouldn't be surprised whether he moved around in France to a side that we play in the Champions League, maybe a Lyon. I could see him doing something there, or even coming over to the Premier League and doing something special.
Yeah, I think for me, what's going to hold Belgium back is Roberto Martinez. Do not rate him. Don't think he's a good manager at all. And I think the fact that they have entrusted their golden generation to Roberto Martinez shows just why they haven't done what they should have done.
They had a lovely generation in the 90s as well, with like Enzo Schifo, and Penza brothers, Bart Gore. They had some good like top players playing for him back then. And once again, I think they just came across at the wrong time.
Yeah. Right. Let's move on to the last team in the group before we then predict how this group's going to pan out. And the last team is Russia. And I was saying off air, the thing is with Russia, it seems like their players don't leave Russia anymore. You look at this squad and there's only a handful of players outside of the Russian league. Alexander Golovin, who I rate very highly.
Yes.
I rate that guy so highly. He's had a great season when fit for Monaco. And Moranchuk, who recently moved to Atalanta and has been playing some decent stuff. But outside of that, it's pretty much everyone there plays for a Russian club. So, Gav, who stands out for you firstly? And do you think that this squad is good enough to trouble the likes of Denmark and Belgium?
I like those guys that you mentioned. I'm a big fan of Golovin. Denis Cheryshev. I love Denis Cheryshev. He's getting older now, though. He's 30, but when he was turning out in the World Cup and in the Euros as well last time out, thought he looked really damn good. Jubsha, he's been in the press quite a bit, and he was out of the side for a while. But he is back now, and he's turned up at Zenit. He's been scoring a couple of goals for the national side. He's got 29 in 51, which isn't a bad record. I had him on Football Index, but I didn't cash out in time, and they've gone under, which is such a shame. But when you're picking players like Zhirkov,
was he 37?
37 years old. Is a bit old now, but they rely on him as well at left back. Sometimes they play a back three, sometimes they play a back five. Not quite sure which way they're going to line up this time. I hope they play a back four in order to get the best of Cheryshev and Golovin and Miranchuk. So like, it's the only way that you'd be able to, or like if they're going to play three at the back, then they've got to play like 3-4-2-1 and have Zuba up front by himself. So it's going to be interesting to see what they're going to try and do. I can't see them doing anything. I can see them being at the bottom of this division.
Chris, what are your thoughts on that Russia squad?
I think Finland are going to pip them. I think Finland have just got more. They've just got more about them. They've just got more quality. If this is Football Manager, then yes, you're going to win the tournament because you've got Yuri Zhirkov, who is just a Football Manager legend. Let's face it, every team I've ever had on Football Manager, I'm drafting him in 500,000. Thank you very much. If they're going to make it out of the group, then they're going to have to rely on the lads who have either been brave enough to leave Russia and go and test themselves in the better leagues in Europe, or they're going to have to rely on the lads who have just got that European experience. So the likes of your aforementioned Cheryshev, Zuba, Miranchuk, guys who are just used to playing at a slightly higher level. There's no problems with staying in Russia and staying in the Russian league if that's what you want to do as a player. But let's call a spade a spade. The Russian league is not of the standard of Serie A or of the Bundesliga or of La Liga, and those are the leagues that you've got to go across to, even the top 10 teams in those leagues to really test yourself and bring your playing abilities to a higher level. So I think that's a really important point that you make about them all staying in Russia. And I think that's going to be the reason why they're not going to do very well.
I think what the issue is, though, Chris, in the Russian league, it's very much like the Premier League. Local players carry additional tax. So English players that we see that are decent with a decent level of ability of anything, if a team abroad wants them, they will just lob an extra 20-30 mil on top of their price tag to keep him here, as far as I'm concerned. And that's exactly what there was a period that was happening, because the Russian FA got really angry with all their players going out abroad, and they felt that it was a detriment to their side. So what they did, they stopped buying in as much local talent, much foreign talent. Remember when there was the stuff a lot of Antsy, and there was
changed the rules, haven't they? You can only have a certain amount of foreign players in your squad.
Yeah,
I think it's only 3 or 4. It's not much at all.
Which initially wound up the Russian players. So they were like, well, we're not going to be any good. We're not going to have to compete anywhere else. So we're going to go abroad. But then the clubs were like, well, here's an incentive for you to stay. And they were giving them more money and things like that. So it's very, very similar to the breakup of Yugoslavia in the late 80s, early 90s. Very similar situation. So, but the issue is there's not enough decent young kids that are coming through. A lot of them are picking different sports, ice hockey, basketball. So it's going to take a long time for Russia to go back to the players that they had like in the early 2000s and things like that.
And that's a shame. That's a shame when you think of that playing squad that Russia had. Like you, Devo, were just talking about Arshavin when he first come to Arsenal. You had players like Pavlyuchenko. I loved Pavlyuchenko.
Yeah, he was a
baller. He was.
Zhagayev who made his name in Akinfeyev between the sticks. What a
Akinfeyev. I was just thinking, it seems weird seeing a Russian squad and not seeing Akinfeyev in.
Not seeing him in that,
one player who I do quite like the look of in Russia is Roman Zobnin in central mid. Very good. just combative kind of midfielder in there. So that's one name to look out for. So let's just try and predict how this how this group is going to play out. Chris, since you gave a big sigh, then I'm going to come to you first. 1 to 4, how do you think this is going to go?
Do you know? I think Belgium are going to top the group. I think they've got enough about them to at least get 6 points on the board against the poorer teams, Finland and Russia, and then maybe it might be a draw with Denmark. I can see Denmark finishing second, but I think they might finish level on points. I think they're both going to get 7. I think it might be a bit of a stalemate between Denmark and Belgium on paper. And then it's a toss-up between Finland and Russia, but I'll say Finland 3rd and Russia 4th.
Mm-hmm. Gav?
I think that's going to be a draw as well between Denmark and Belgium. But I think Denmark are going to score more against either Finland or Russia than Belgium. So I'm going to go with Denmark to top the group.
You just have to be different, don't you?
Yes, I do. I do not like conforming to society, Christopher. So it's Denmark top, then Belgium, and then Finland 3rd and Russia 4th.
I was just trying to look at the fixtures because if Denmark and Belgium are playing each other last and both are through, then I think Denmark might top the group because Belgium will probably say, stuff this, we're going to rest a bunch of players. But I think if that's not the case, let me just have a look here. No, they're not playing each other last. I think Belgium win the group. I do think they may end up on same points, but I think Belgium will outscore every other team in this group. I think that's what Belgium do. They score a lot of goals. I think Denmark will come second, and I think Russia 3rd and Finland 4th. I just don't think Finland will have, as much as Russia aren't a powerhouse by any way, shape or form. I just think they'll have too much for Finland. I think Finland, outside of their attacking force, are pants. I don't think they're going to.
I was going to say shite, but we'll go with pants.
Yeah, and I love Finland. I've been to Helsinki, and it's a lovely place. Those guys know how to drink, and I've never been so cold in my life. I remember buying a hot dog from a street vendor, and every time I took my glove off to eat it, my hand hurt so much I had to put my glove back on. But because my glove was so big, I couldn't eat this. I just ended up throwing it away.
And that was in June.
In a bin. Yeah, it was New Year's. He told me to go to Helsinki for New Year's. Idiot. So that's it for Group B. We will be back again with Group C, and then obviously the remaining groups, because it would just be stupid to just do 2 groups and then call it quits. So we won't be doing that. We'll do all the groups. Make sure you subscribe to the channel at Mad Sports Network. Just pop that in Google, pop that in the search bar on YouTube, and then you can subscribe, hit the notification bell, like our videos, because it means a lot to us. We put a lot of hard work into these, and the likes help with the algorithms and whatnot. You can follow us on Twitter at Mad Sports Net, at Mac23, at GavMac23, at Devo LDN, at Chris the Collins, and we will be back with more great content for you across the upcoming days, whether it's MMA, boxing, darts, football, NFL, wrestling. We have you covered. So hit the notification bell, keep watching MAD Sports Network, and share it with all of your friends, compadres, amigos, and whichever other language that you speak. And we'll be back with Group C very shortly. So from myself, Gav Mac, and Krista Collins, goodbye, good night. Thanks for watching.